hide. So welcome everybody in this lecture 12 of module 3 in EHV2 course. In last two lectures, we were discussing about human being and human being as coexistence of self and body. And we said that in terms of the proposals, though there are no new proposals, but now we have developed our competence to see these things, by direct observation. And therefore, the same proposals we can now investigate in much more depth and width. So that is what we were discussing in the lecture 10 and 11. That when we are talking about human being as coexistence of self and body, we observed the need of the self and need of the body. Then we observe the activities of the self and activities of the body. And then we observe the response of the self and response of the body. But as I said, for most of people, it was at the level of thought, at the level of rational inquiry. But now it is a kind of direct observation, by way of direct observation, we can see the self, what is going on in the self. We can see the body, what is going on in the body. We can see the interaction between the two, between the self and body. By directly observing the self first, and then by observing the body by the self. So first we are observing the self by the self, and then we are observing the self, body by the self. And by this direct observation, we are able to see certain basic fundamental realities regarding the self, regarding the body, regarding the interaction between the self and body. So through practice session 1 and 2, through exercise 1 and 2 and the 7 steps of each one of them, we are able to see these things much more clearly and with more authenticity. So this is what we did for in lecture 10 and 11. That is, we recalled this exercise 1 particularly and discuss at least some details which were important to see the different aspects at the level of self. And we saw how it helps us to see, the realities about the self by direct observation. Now what we intend to do in this lecture 12 is that we want to understand this interaction between the self and the body in the light of those 2 exercises under practice session. As I mentioned in the last class, that the whole course is designed in a manner that with every 2 lectures of content, we have 1 practice session. So by the time we cover 10 lectures, we must have covered 5 practice sessions, which would have covered 3 to 4 steps of exercise 1. So when we are talking about this interaction between self and body, we have to refer to exercise 2, which we have not covered by now. But I would like to give some background so that you can start getting a feel, and as you go through the exercise, you can connect what we are discussing here with that exercise with your direct observation. So little bit of going forth and back will take place, but that we have to do anyway, because we have to kind of go through the proposal and go through the process of our rational inquiry, and then we have to observe, because that background is required to observe. So then we have to do the direct observation, and when we do the direct observation, then our clarity becomes much more, and much deeper, right? And with that clarity, when you come back and again investigate into the proposal, right, it gets further deeper and reinforced. So that kind of going forth and back will take place. So in this case of interaction between the self and the body, we will briefly mention about the exercise that we are doing, this exercise 2, and then make use of it in understanding this interaction between the self and the body. So let us look at that. This we have already discussed in EHB 1, that if you look at the self and the body and the coexistence of the two, we can see that there is some transaction taking place between the self and the body. And this transaction is that of information. So transaction of information is taking place. And we have also seen that there is no material transaction. So nothing physical is going from the self to the body or from body to self. What is being transacted is basically the information. And when we looked into the details of it, we had found that the self is giving some instruction to the body to walk, to stand, to go to a sweet shop, right? Take out some money and pay it. All that instruction I am giving to the body, and the body is doing accordingly as an instrument. And then if I buy that sweet and put it in my tongue, then when the sweet comes in contact with that tongue, right, there is some taste of that sweet. So I read that sensation generated in the tongue. So I am giving some information, some instruction to the body, and I am reading some sensation from the body. This is what is happening. This instruction is an information given from the self to the body. And this sensation is also an information which is received by the self from the body. So very interesting, right? That only transaction is that of information. That sweet that I eat remains with the body, right? Once it goes down the throat, you don't get anything out of it, The self does not get anything out of it anymore. It is now part of the body. If it is good for the health, it will nurture the body. If it's not good, it will harm the body. But all that will happen with the body. So as far as the transaction between the self and body is concerned, there is this transaction of information, transaction of instruction from self to body, and transaction of information in terms of sensation from the body to the self. So this is a very interesting phenomena. And this is what we are trying to study through practice session 2, through exercise 2. And this we are doing in 7 steps. So we'll briefly mention those 7 steps and see how this can be directly observed by the self. And that will help us to give us the clarity and confidence about this fundamental point that we are making. So if you look at these 7 steps, we have just displayed these 7 steps together. Okay. So in step 1, we are trying to observe the self and the body. I think I can just take that steps, read that directly from there. So observing the self and the body by the self. This is the step 1 of exercise 2. So exercise 2 is basically observing the self, the body, and the interaction between the self and the body. And all this observation is done by the self. So that is what we are doing under exercise 2. And there are 7 steps. In first step, we are making the following important observations about self and body. So when I look at the self, I can see that I am. And how do I look at myself? On the basis of observing my activities, observing my imagination, my desire, thought, and expectation, my feeling, my thought. So by observing my imagination, my desire, my thought, my expectation, I can conclude that I am. So I can see that I am a reality. The self is a reality. Right? It exists. It exists as an existential reality. Now, when I look at the body, I can also see that the body is. And how do I see it? By observing the sensation going on in the body. So this is a very interesting thing. How do you know that the body is there? How does the self know that the body is there? So if my eyes are open, I can get the sensation of sight, right? I can see the shape of the body, color of the body. So I can conclude that yes, the body is there. So I am able to see the body through the sensation of sight. If I close my eyes, can I still see the body? Can I see that the body is? Yes, I can. How do I do it? I read some sensation from the body. And on the basis of that sensation, I conclude that yes, the body is also there. So if there is some pain, there is some itching, right? Then I read that sensation and I conclude that yes, body is also there. If you are not reading the sensation, there is no way for you to find out whether the body is there or not there. Very interesting. So for those who have not gone through this exercise, it will be very interesting and very challenging to see that the only way for me to find out that the body is there is by way of looking at the sensation which is going on in the body. There is no other way, whether it is a sensation of sight or sensation of pain or touch, whatever it is, any of these 5 sensations. Only by reading that sensation, the self is able to make a decision that yes, the body is also there. And when I'm not paying attention to the sensation, I have no way to decide whether the body is there or not there. Then it is just my belief. It's just my assumption. So interesting. Work on it. The conclusion is that the body is also there. It exists as an existential reality. This is step 1 of exercise 2. Very simple, but very important. Right. I can see that I am there by way of observing my imagination, my activities of desire, thought, expectation, my feeling, and so on. I can also see that the body is there by observing some sensation from the body. And if I can do that, then I can conclude that the self is there as a reality, the body is there as a reality, and they are 2 distinct realities. This I can see by direct observation. I can see myself, right, on the basis of seeing my imagination, my activities of desire, thought, and expectation. I can see the body by looking at the sensation that I am reading from the body. And these are two different set of realities, distinct reality. I can conclude this. So very interesting. Work on it. When we come to this exercise, we'll spend more time trying to work on it, trying to respond to the questions and all that. But I'm doing all this just to introduce that having done this exercise, we will be in a better position to understand the interaction between the self and body, which we have stated right in UHB 1. And which we had also recalled in the first part of this course. Now, once I am able to see that I am there and the body is there, now this next question is, what is the interaction between the self and the body? So this is the question we are asking. What is the interaction between me and the body? Now that we are two distinct realities, now we have to understand what is the interaction between the two. We are asking this question, is it just the exchange of information, or there is some exchange of physiochemical things also? So when we study this in step 2, so there are points to study, like I give the instruction to the body. Can I see this? In every interaction with the body, I am giving some instruction to the body. Right? For example, when I want to take some work from the body, I give it some instruction, like get up, walk, sit down. And we can see that this instruction is just an information. Similarly, we can see that something is happening at the level of body and there is some sensation generated. Right? So if there is cold outside, there is shivering in the body. So there is sensation. And I read that sensation from the body. So I get some information from the body. And that's it. So the only transaction is between self and body in terms of self giving some instruction to the body, which is an information, and self reading some sensation from the body, which is also an information. So basically there is transaction of information between the self and the body only, and there is no material transaction, which we just exemplified in the last step. So this we have to see. This we have to see in every transaction that we are doing with the body. And interestingly, you will see when you start observing that you are not transacting with the body all the time. You are not transacting with the body all the time. As and when required, you transact. And this percentage will be very less. It would even be less than 1%. Most of the time we are busy with ourselves, not paying attention to the body, not doing any transaction with the body. But don't take it as given that it is less than 1%. I just sometime give you the kind of quantitative feel to make you work on it, and evaluate whether your effectiveness of working is there or not there. But you don't get stuck to these quantitative descriptions. It is just to give you a feel that most of the time self is busy with the self and is not paying attention to the body. And when the self is not paying attention to the body, there is no transaction between the self and the body. But look at this, study. So this is second step. The third step is that now I can see that there is only transaction of information. Who is taking the decision? Who is the decision maker in this transaction? So if self is giving some instruction to the body, who is deciding which instruction to give, when to give? And similarly, when self is reading some sensation from the body, who is deciding, the self or the body? So this we have to study in step 3, and very important, to observe, because when I observe this, I can see that I am deciding as to give which information to give to the body and when. So it is my decision of the self. Similarly, when I am reading some sensation from the body, it is my decision to read some sensation from the body, because innumerous, number of sensations are taking place in the body, and I'm not reading all the sensations, and not reading it all the time. So sometime I'm reading that sensation as and when I consider it important. And when I'm reading that sensation, I'm reading one of the sensations which are going on in the body. So both way, it is my decision. Both way, the decision is of the self. Whether the transaction is taking place from self to body or from body to self. So as a conclusion, we have said, I interact with the body as and when I consider it important. And I interact with the body from time to time and read that sensation which I consider important. So the body acts according to the instruction that I give it. And therefore, I use the body as my instrument as per my decision, right? So very important, observation that in the transaction with the body, both way, I am the one who decides. So as and when I consider it is important to read the sensation, I read the sensation. And when I'm reading the sensation, I read that sensation which I consider important at that point of time. So it is the self who is deciding to read or not to read the sensation. It is the self who is deciding whether to give instruction to the body or not give instruction to the body. So this we have to study, spend time. I am just introducing, as I said, to give you a feel that if we are able to observe all this, then this study of transaction between the self and body will become more, authentic, and we'll get better clarity. So essentially we are saying, I decide what to do and what not to do. Right? What to do at the level of self, I decide. And I also decide what to do at the level of body. So at the level of self, I decide my desire, thought, and expectation. At the level of body, right? Wherever my involvement is required, I give instruction to the body in accordance with the work that I have to get from the body. And the body acts accordingly. I operate the body as per my decision. I use the body like an instrument. And I use the test from the sensation to decide what is to be done with the body, with the world outside. So this is a very important observation, that in this transaction, self is the decision maker. Self is deciding and giving instruction to the body as to how to use the body. Self is deciding to read the sensation from the body. And on that basis, it is also able to decide what to do for the body. But both ways, the decision is taken by the self. So a very important observation. And it is possible for us with little effort, we are able to observe this directly at the level of self, and we can see at the level of self interacting with the body. So this is just an observation. I will not get into much detail. So three things we can see, that it is the self which is the observer, the doer and the enjoyer. So when we look at this transaction between the self and body, and when we are able to see that it is the self who is deciding, then we can make this observation that it is the self who is the observer, the seer. It is the self who is the doer, who is taking decision, what to do, what not to do. And it is the self who is the enjoyer, the experiencer of the result. So when I'm looking at things, when I'm deciding things, right, there is some output that I'm getting at the level of self in terms of happiness or unhappiness. Right? So we are the experiencer, the enjoyer of that. So this is one conclusion which we can draw out of the step 3 of exercise 2. That self is the one who decides, self is the one who enjoys it in terms of happiness or unhappiness, experiences in terms of happiness or unhappiness. So self is the observer, the seer, the self is the doer, and self is the enjoyer. This we have been talking about many times, but now I can directly experience that in my interaction with the body, I am the one who is taking decision. I am the one who is getting the result of it in terms of happiness or unhappiness. I am the one who is observing, seeing things, right, and deciding. And this is important step. I will not get into too much of detail of it, but I will just mention so that you may start working on it. And when you are able to observe this, it makes a whole lot of difference in your whole perception about the self, about the body, about the interaction of the two. Right? The step is very simple. What we have to observe is, when I'm reading the sensation taking place in the body, am I the sensation? Am I in the sensation? Am I at a distance from the sensation? Very simple question. And you have to just keep asking yourself this question and keep observing and see what is the result. So I will leave it open for you to explore. What I will do from my side is only give a possibility, right? But don't take it as truth. Right? Take it as a proposal and investigate. Find out yourself what is the situation. So when I do the observation, what I find is that I am not the sensation, because if I was the sensation, there was no way for me to opt out of this reading the sensation or not reading the sensation. So if I was hardwired with the sensation, there was no choice. But now we have the choice to read or not to read the sensation. That is one fundamental choice we have. So I am not the sensation, that we can see. And we can also see that I am not in the sensation. So look at it, don't immediately accept. And third is I am at a distance from the sensation. So if we observe this, we can see that we are able to observe the sensation in any part of the body just by taking decision. Any part of the body, we can read the sensation. So if you work on it, you'll slowly get the feel that yes, I am able to read the sensation from wherever I am. And when I'm observing the sensation, I'm not the sensation. I'm not in the sensation. But work on it. Don't take this conclusion immediately. So these are the 4 steps that we have to at least get a feel to understand, things about this interaction between the self and body in more depth, with more clarity, more authenticity. The step 5 and 6 are very important in the sense that through this step 5 and 6, we can see the details of this interaction. And therefore, we can see the role of the body, the role of the self, in the whole process. But I will not get into the details of that because that will call for sufficient time. But I will certainly display it for you to get a feel. So if you look at the step 5, I can just call that back. You have to keep working on step 4 till I get that PPT. Are you able to see this slide, step 5? राजुल जी?
जी सर दिख रही है.
Step 5, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. Is it visible now, step 5?
Yes sir.
No, but this is not the one.
Associating to the sensation.
Yes, but let me not, this is not the one which is. Rajul ji, can you display that slide? That showing all those things?
हाँ गणेश जी, हम अभी फोन पे हैं, 1 मिनट
जी
करते हैं डिस्प्ले।
anyway. So the basic idea is just that there is something happening at the level of body in the form of sensation. This sensation is read by the self by choice. After having reading this having read the sensation, self is giving some meaning to it, and on the basis of that meaning, it has some reaction or response. And based on that reaction or response, it is now expressing it at the level of body by giving some instruction to the body. So this whole process has to be understood. So something happening at the level of body, which is read by the self, there is some meaning given by the self, and as a result, there is some reaction or response at the level of self. And depending upon this reaction or response, the self is deciding to give some instruction to the body. So it gives some instruction to the body, and therefore there is something taking place at the level of body. So this whole process has to be understood. And similarly, when there is some interaction with the world outside, what is happening is that the world outside has some effect on the body, which the self is reading, taking decision in terms of reaction or response, and then passing some instruction to the body to act outside. So that is the whole process. This we have to understand. Is it visible, Rajul ji? Rajul ji?
गणेश जी कंप्यूटर ऑन करके कर रहे हैं, 1-2 मिनट लगे।
अभी दिख रहा है ये स्लाइड स्टेप 5 का?
जी सर दिख रहा है।
बढ़िया। So this is the whole process we have to understand. But I'm not going to go into the details because this is just to give you a feel. So with this slide, step 5, we can get back to our discussion. अभी देख सकते हैं? दिलशाद जी
सेल्फ बॉडी एज अ इंस्ट्रूमेंट वो वाली स्लाइड दिख रही है
जी
सर?
ठीक 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 बढ़िया, इसी को देखना है।
जी
इसको फुल स्क्रीन कर सकते हैं।
Yes. So we have talked about these 5 steps because they were important. Now with those observations, we can get back to what we have discussed even before. That if you look at the human being, it is coexistence of self and body. Self is an activity of consciousness. Body is an activity of material. There is this transaction of information between the self and the body in the form of self giving some instruction to the body and self giving some sensation from the body. Now we can read certain details about it. So if you look at the self, the need of the self is happiness in continuity. Whereas the need of the body is physical facility. Now this you can observe directly. Then we can see that needs and activities are continuous of the self. Exercise 1, we can see this. The activity of the body is temporary in time. Then we can now see this self-regulation, that the self has feeling of responsibility towards the body for nurturing, protection and right utilization of the body. Now we can see all the decision of transaction between the self and body is taken by the self. So basically it is the responsibility of the self. So self feels this responsibility towards the body for nurturing, protection and right utilization of the body. And accordingly gives instruction to the body. And the body acts according to I. And when the body acts according to the instruction of I, right, then it is able to ensure that parts of the body are in harmony, in order. So this self-regulation in the self ensures the health at the level of body. And now we can see that when we talk about physical facility, this physical facility is required to fulfill the responsibility of the self towards the body, to keep the body in good health. So out of this feeling of self-regulation in the self, it is able to see the need for nurturing, protection and right utilization of the body. And for fulfilling this, the self is able to identify the need of physical facility. And now we can see that this need of physical facility can be quantified. It can be identified. So let us look at this. So for nurturing of the body, we need things like food, right? Air, water. So these are the physical facility required. For the protection of the body, we need things like clothes, shelter, and so on. And for right utilization of the body, for the purpose of participating in the family, in the society, we need some instruments, some equipment, right? So these are the physical facilities which are required for ensuring the health of the body out of the feeling of self-regulation in the self. If we can see this, now we can ask this question to ourselves, that these physical facilities required, are they required in limited quantity or unlimited quantity? So the required physical facility can be recognized along with the required quantity. So the quantity of food required for nurturing the body, is it limited or unlimited? Do you want it in a limited quantity or unlimited quantity? Similarly, the clothes, shelter for protection of the body, is it required in limited quantity or unlimited quantity? Similarly, the instruments, the equipment, for example, the car, right, that you need, or transport that you need, do you require in a limited quantity or unlimited quantity? So if you do this study, we can find that they are required in a limited quantity, each one of them. For some, it may be required in little more quantity than the other, but it is always required in a limited quantity. So the ultimate conclusion is that physical facility is required to keep the body in good health, so that the right utilization of the body can be ensured. That is, physical facility is required only for nurturing, protection, and right utilization of the body. If we can see that the physical facility for this is required in a limited quantity, then only we can understand the meaning of prosperity. So let us look at that. This we have already talked about before, but now you can feel it much better. You understand it with more clarity. That this feeling of having or producing more than required physical facility, and that is what we are calling as prosperity. For this, we need two things. Number one is identification of required physical facility, including the required quantity. And this we can do with right understanding. With right understanding of the self, of the body, of the transaction between the self and the body. And that is what we are trying to do. So if we properly understand the self, the body, and the transaction between the two, we will be able to see that we need physical facility in a limited quantity to ensure nurturing, protection, and right utilization of the body. And when we are able to see this, we are also able to see that we can ensure the availability or production of more than the required physical facility. For this, we require both the right understanding and the right skills. So as a result of this, I can have this feeling of having more than what is required or producing more than what is required. So today, if you look at the status of the people or yourself, do you feel prosperous? And if you are not feeling prosperous, what is the reason? Number one or number two? Is it because you have not been able to identify the need? Or is it because that you are not having more than what is required? You will find that the first one is the basic cause. Today, most of us, and many of us, I will say not most of us, many of us have far more than what is really required as physical facility. So look at that. One important observation is that if you are prosperous, you will think in terms of right utilization and nurturing others. If you feel deprived, you will think of accumulation and exploitation. Just an indicator. So if I understand this interaction between the self and the body clearly, then there is a possibility of having this feeling of prosperity. If I don't understand it, I do not have the possibility of feeling prosperity, irregardless of how much I accumulate, because I am not able to identify the need of physical facility. So these details we have been talking about. But if you are not able to identify the need of physical facility, we have two kinds of people. People lacking physical facility, unhappy and deprived. And people having physical facility, unhappy and deprived. But what we want is having physical facility, happy and prosperous. That we can become if we properly identify the self, the body, and the interaction between the self and the body. So if identification is required, right? So we can shift from 1 to 3 or 2 to 3 only by way of having right identification of required physical facility and availability and production of more than required physical facility. And it is the first one, the A, which is missing. And therefore we have to work for A. And As a conclusion, if we study the self, we study the body, and we study the interaction between the self and the body, then we can see what is the gross misunderstanding of this whole present civilization. Right? The gross misunderstanding is that we are assuming that human being is just the body. Once we assume this, right, we think that the need of the human being, is physical facility. Right? We think that even respect can be obtained through good clothes. Right? As a result, what is happening is that this continuous happiness that we want to derive, when we try to derive it out of this physical facility, out of this sensation, then we start feeling that the need of physical facility is unlimited. And when we try to get to getting more physical facilities, we have this tendency to accumulate, right? So accumulation of physical facility, and how much we do not know. We think that it is unlimited. As a result, we have a feeling of deprivation. And we have a feeling of deprivation, so we want to accumulate more. So this is the cycle we are in. We think that we need unlimited amount of physical facility. So we are making effort for physical facility. When we accumulate more, we still find that it is not unlimited. So we need more. So we feel deprived. Therefore, I want more physical facility, and I work for getting more physical facility. So this is the cycle because of not having understood the self, the body, and interaction between the self and the body. If we understand this interaction between the self and body by direct observation, by direct experience, then we can identify the need of physical facility. And most of us have already more than what is required, so we can have the feeling of prosperity. Good. So this is our discussion about the interaction between the self and the body. So we have to work on this exercise 2 and get back to this kind of study on interaction between the self and body. I've introduced these basic steps of exercise 2 to give you a feel and start the process. But when we formally get to this exercise 2 in detail, you'll be able to get a better feel and then apply back to this lecture, where we are trying to understand the interaction between self and the body. So with this, I will stop. But before opening to questions, I can just recall some of the homework, some of the self-reflection points for self-reflection. One is, if we are able to see by direct observation that need for continuous happiness is the need of the self, and it is fulfilled by the activities of the self and not by physical facility, then in the light of this now, find out the need of physical facility for the health of the body and for social participation. Estimate the quantity required. Do you have more than what is required? Do you feel prosperous? So very practical, question to work with. If you work with this, you'll be able to solve one of the biggest problem that you are facing in life. Second is, do you have the feeling of self-regulation in the self for body? For example, when you are eating your food, is it for nurturing the body or is it primarily for getting happiness out of the sensation? So study it throughout the day. You will find sometimes it is necessary for nurturing. Most of the time it is not necessary for nurturing, but it is for sensation. How much is your body affected by the status of the self? For example, when you are angry, what is its effect on the body? This is very important to study because we are traveling the body, in a very sleepy manner. So there is some problem at the level of self and it gets reflected at the level of body. Very unconsciously, very unknowingly. Now we start observing with awareness that if something is happening in the body, in the self, is it, passed on to the body? Am I, giving some instruction to the body when I am angry, when I am restless, when I am, upset mentally? And is it necessary to give instruction to the body? So if I am not able to decide something, right? In the meantime, do I keep sending information to the body? Or I realize that there is no need of the body to be involved because I am not able to decide. Unless I decide, what is the point of giving instruction to the body? So I will keep working on myself, taking the decision, and only when there is a final decision at the level of self, I will pass on that